for having them so many years. And we just want Miss Lucinda Hardrick to come to you in her own way. She's going to be the spokesman for the two. And just let all the generations know how these two met and how we all got started. Okay, go.
Okay, go ahead.
Who was I talking to?
You talking to me?
Well, if you want to know the beginning of this generation, I guess I'd better start back from when my husband of 66 years and I first met. It seemed like at that time,
Go ahead.
both of us being people that believed in going to church and did attend church in our young days. And I was on a program at another church a distance from where we lived. And I didn't have a way to get to the church that Sunday. And the man and his wife that was head of our singing class said that they was going to see to us getting a way to get there. So I went to town, and they told us when you go to town, when you come back from town today, come back by the house. So we rode by that house. Well, they had told this young man, Obray Hardrick, to come over there. He wanted him to see the girls that he was going to take to the program.
Mm-hmm.
So he left the field and got there, but we didn't know he was coming. And he didn't come right on up to the house because he just left out the field. And he rode up and stopped and he talked to the man. And the man told him that that's the girls I want you to take, we want to get you to take them to Shiloh. So he promised he would. So he went on and he got the time of day they were supposed to pick us up. And then he went on home. So Mr. Burnett came in and he said, Miss Greenlee, he called my sister and I, Miss Greenlee, said, Miss Greenlee, said, that is the young man I got to take you all to Shiloh. I looked at him, I said, you look mighty tacky looking to myself.
He looked up.
I spoke to him, I said, I thought he was old looking. I said, that old man? So he said, he looked nice when he get dressed up. So. And so that Sunday morning, at the proper time, we looked, and here comes somebody down the road driving a pretty horse, and I had a buggy with a top to it and everything, drove down, picked my sister and I up. So we went to church down there at Shiloh. Well, either one of us didn't know which one that he was going to choose to try to court at that time. So he made 2 or 3 trips to our house and would take us to different places, and we were just riding. We didn't know whether he was caring for either one of us that much. But as the course that the choir had got him to take people around, we just thought that's all he was up to. So eventually he told me he would like to come to see me, you know, and then he started to come and see me regularly. That was in 1921, and in June. Well, we saw each other off and on for about a year, and he left and went to a little town called Tulot, Arkansas. While he was at Tulot, he would come back once or twice a year to see his people, and he would come to see me. Well, we did communicate by letter now and then, you know, we'd write letters to each other. So the last year he worked at Tulot. While he was up there, he wrote me a letter, and he would mention that he wanted to get married. So I wrote him a letter back. I can't remember now what all I told him, but anyway, he came down and he talked. And from June in 1921 until about in October in 1923, and that's when he asked my parents for my hand in marriage. And we set the date for Christmas Day in 1923. We got married on Christmas, well, it was night, Christmas night in 1923. And,
right? Mm-hmm.
Alice, you take one with
Was Grandpa shy? Were you shy when you were a young man?
Was he shy?
Were you shy about asking her to get married? You were. Mm-hmm. I guess when you ask him for the
shy because he wrote the first time. He got the conversation going.
Right. Well, when you ask him for the prettiest lady in the county's hand, you have to go slow, right? That's right. Well, I have one more question, Grandma.
Mr.
Were you
Obray.
waiting for him to...
No, I didn't even think like that.
No?
I hadn't even thought. He would just look like a good friend of ours after he started coming to see me. He would come to see me until he moved to Tulot and stayed up there. He didn't move there. He just went up there and he worked up there about a year. And during the time, he would continue to write back to the Greenleaf, you know. And that's when he mentioned, you know, that he wanted to get married to me.
What kind of work was he doing up there?
And for our wedding. And we got married after we had made our plans, I think in October in 1923. We did get married on December the 25th. And I didn't teach school anymore until about 3 or 4 years after we were married. And I taught one term at a little place called White Rock. And after I taught at White Rock, I didn't teach anymore then for a long time. I think in 1944, my sister was sick, and I taught a term, a month or 2 months or something like that for her until she got able to take over. And then after that, I was called to a school where I taught for 5 years at a place called Sandpit. From Sandpit, I went to Scott Barnes. I taught at Scott Barnes about 4 years, and then I taught at Round Part, Arkansas 1 year. Well, they closed those schools down, and I didn't teach anymore for about 5 or 6 years. And my sister was working at the Rossett School, and they began to get crowded, and they wanted another teacher. And I was occupied in fishing at that time. And she came and told me, said that her principal at that time, she wasn't the principal at that time, but her principal told her, said, speak to your sister, see about getting it. And so I wish she was around so you could see. Our principal at that time was Dr. Charles Latimer. And so he hired me to come and teach. I taught one winter term there with them, and then I was retired in 1962. And then he called me back in 1964, and I taught another winter time, you know, just in the winter, from January until the school closed in the spring. And after that, I went back to my job of fishing, and I did fish all around. And so when I look on the TV now and see people fishing, I want to go to fishing now, and I would go if I could just get around and get to the lakes and things. I still, at 88 years old, I believe I could catch me a perch.
Okay. All right.
That lake. But I pulled out some of those fish. I had a good time fishing, I'm telling you. And one time I'd go drive my car down where he'd put him out at work, and then I'd go right around the corner back to the lake and fish. And I called